All right, great. So sitting here with Chris Skinner on Money 2020. I know we're only like a third way into the conference, but do you have any reflections or any sort of insight so far from the day yesterday?
Well, one of the things that kept coming up as a theme yesterday was GDPR and data privacy, data protection, and the idea that banks could become safe vaults of data for customers, which is a possibility, but then would I trust a bank more with my data than I would trust Amazon? I don't know.
A lot of people are talking about, you know, the opportunities are in platforms, openness and collaboration. But if we go to sort of the more practical part of things, like what is really the key things banks should focus on to sort of stay relevant tomorrow?
Well, to a large extent, I talk a lot about digital and how banks need to be digital. And then I hear a lot of banks talking digital, but there's very few actually walking. Yeah, there's a lot of talk, there's not a lot of actual implementation and delivery. And they may think they've done digital because they've rolled out a mobile app, they're doing blockchain proof of concept, they're experimenting with artificial intelligence, etc., etc. But none of that is digital, because digital is not about technology, it's about culture. And that's something that I think is the biggest challenge, which is how do you build a groundswell within the bank of a culture and a DNA of digital transformation. And if you can't build that, you'll never be successful.
But you know, how would a bank start moving on that journey? I mean, what does it take to become great then?
Well, I think there's two or three things of the banks that are really doing this well, of which there are only a handful of the big banks that are doing this well. And what they all have in common is the leadership team are completely committed to digital transformation and are ensuring that that's pushed through the middle management as not just a message, but as a structural change programs. Are you focusing on customer experiences with digital reach? So the second thing they're measuring is how much onboarding of customers, sales to customers, service to customers is being delivered digitally rather than physically. You know, think like a startup, which is focusing on customers, innovating, destroying all the rules that are stupid, and becoming much more agile. You know, all those things are delivered through leadership, and it's that leadership that gets a digital DNA. And there aren't many banks that have leaders who really believe in digital DNA. There's lots who talk about it, but believing in it is different.
But at the end of the day, there are always those that are going to say, so how does that impact my business, or where will I make money? I mean, is that something that then limit the banks because they still think about sort of the money, or do you need that connection in order to sort of transform everything?
Well, most banks obviously have to think about profit and margin and shareholder value. And it's difficult right now, because I've talked about this a lot with the banks that are doing digital well, to link digital transformation to shareholder return and to see the differential. But it is coming through, and over time you'll see this chasm created between the banks that haven't got digital transformation and the banks that have. The new mentality of how you make money in a bank is enriching the customer experience with informed advice through data analysis. And what we're seeing is that chasm starting to grow. So for example, BBVA have 92% of their products digitally available, products and services. 43% of their sales in Spain last year were through customers using digital service, which was compared to 13% 3 years ago. So it's tripled in just 2 years. And the reason for that is the measures, the focus on getting the middle management to deliver digital services, but equally it's getting them to focus on the customer in those services. So the customer measurements around attrition, retention, service, net promoter scores, all those things combined say we're not just delivering sales through digital, we're delivering service and customer experience and focus through digital. And you have to have all of that.
But if we turn it around, like what are the things that banks as of today typically like disregard or fail to acknowledge that they need to do?
Well, I use this statistic a lot because I like it, which is from an analysis of the biggest banks of the world's annual reports and the leadership teams of those banks. A number came out that 94% of the C-suite leadership teams of banks are bankers who have no technology experience ever in their life. So how can you become a digital bank if you're led by people who don't understand digital? You've got to have a leadership that has technology experience and digital DNA in their blood. But the problem with that is that says, okay, I've got to sack myself.
Thank you for your time and looking forward to seeing you on stage.
Don't forget to read my book, Digital Human. It's very good.
I will. I will.
So I'm told.
Did you get that? Read the book.
Thanks, Sergi.
Thank you.